Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Inni Adesanya show. I'm just again starting out by saying thank you so much to everyone that has watched, commented, complimented, all those good stuff. I just wanted to say a big thank you. And, we're moving on stronger and stronger and just appreciating everybody. Of course, the goal of this platform is to make sure or work hard in my own way to make sure SMEs thrive, small and medium-sized enterprises, or you can call it small and medium-sized businesses. They thrive, they do well, and by providing information, educational information, right, on all areas or as many areas as possible that affects SMEs. All right. So thank you for everyone that's watched, again, commented and complimented. So today, we have another interesting topic. And the topic is what factors, I will start by saying factors that SMEs should consider when choosing technology, tech solutions, right? What are the factors? Now, we all know that technology is great to do well, to thrive, to move forward in the business. You need good technology. You need technology. It's very important. But I mean, there are so many apps, so many softwares out there, and you're just saying, I mean, what do you do? Which one do you choose? What what factors do you look at when you're choosing technology solutions? What are you looking at, right? Now, if you're a techie person, if you're very good in technology, okay, kudos, good for you. I'm sure you're already ahead of the game. So you have a small business that is basically good or focused on technology. Usually you're great, you're already ahead of the game, right? But a lot of SMEs, they're not like, or SME owners, right? They're not really at that point. I mean, I know that for my business, I know I need technology, but I'm not very conversant with technology. I know I need it. I know that when I use it, it's very awesome. It's good, right? It takes me to where I want to be when it comes to my work. So I know the functionality of the technology I want to use. I know, so I might not know all about technology, but I know the functionality of what I need for my business. All right. So assuming you're in that boat and say, oh my goodness, there's so many, there's so many apps and technology out there, but wondering which one do you actually use? Okay, now I'm going to give you, I think five factors, just to, of course, just to allow you to just analyze, which one works for you. Again, people might have 10, 15, 3, 4. I'm not, I'm not saying that there are not more. This list might not be exhaustive, but I'm just going to, mention a few that I believe that are very critical based on my own experience, all right, and my own background, in the business world. So the very first factor you should consider is that technology solutions, is it actually useful for you, right? Is it useful? Remember, I said something that I know what I need for my business. So somebody can come up and tell me, oh, this technology is use this technology, use that technology. But I always say that when they come to me, I actually have to say, or I tell them, how does it relate with my business, right? How does it impact my business, right? So first of all, is it useful for your business? It might be the in thing, everybody's using it, everybody, well, not everybody, but it might be that a lot of people are using it. Let me not say everybody, a lot of people are using it, but it doesn't mean it's for your business. You have to, does it work for your business? That's the very first thing you should consider before you consider even purchasing that software or using that app for your business. Really really see if that technology really works for your business. Okay, that's the first factor to consider. Number two, user friendly. I mean, I cannot overemphasize that, right? I mean, I love simplicity when it comes to technology. If it has so many gadgets, like, some software, they have, yes, they're good for your business, but they have too many complex gadgets. You don't need those gadgets. You don't need those links here. You can do this, you can do that, right? I'm not saying that everybody, I mean, I wouldn't say that nobody needs that. I won't say that. It could be that some people need those gadgets, but you have to look at it. Is it user friendly for you? If you're someone that's into technology, kudos, fine. But a lot of people just want something to work without it being complex. They just want it to work, right? It might be a complex, robust software, but because of the simplicity, this is very user friendly. All right. So don't get me wrong. It might be a complex software, but because it's user friendly, I mean, it's fine to use, right? So you have to make sure that what you're using, your software that you're thinking of buying, is user friendly. Is it user friendly to you? All right. And if you're buying something for your staff, that your staff will also use it, it's not only about you. Is it user friendly for your staff? I mean, you can even, I mean, I'll talk about that later, but you can even think of trial. But that will be later at the end. But you have to, it's not only about, you have to think of other people working with you, because SMEs, some of them have staff, some of you guys have staff. So it's very important to say that, okay, this app, this software, is it user friendly for everyone, not only me? Now, if you're the only one that is in the company, fine, right? That's fine. Okay. The next point is security. Again, this is another point I can't overemphasize. It's so important that your software that you're thinking of buying and your or your app that you're thinking of buying for your business the company is very security conscious. Very. Now, I know that in the IT world, there are even licenses that they're supposed to have and certification that they need to have. I mean, if you want to double check, you can even ask an IT person to do to confirm if this entity has it. Usually they do, but you never know. So because you don't want your clients or your customers' data to be out there. You don't want client information, somebody's hacking easily, because you don't have a secured platform for your client information, right? So that is very, very important. Remember, I talked about factors. Yes, maybe it's something that you already need, and yes, it's user friendly. But if it's easy to hack into that software, think again. Because again, you don't want to have any lawsuit or something, like you want to be sued, right? Because of really the security of your software. All right. So make sure you're checking that out. Of course, you can read the reviews, you can find out is it secured enough for you to use that product, right? That software. All right. Very important. Now, the next one, I mean, we've gotten through those first three, but another point you have to look at is, think of your competition. Find out what they are using. Find out what they are using, right? Find out, okay, this my company is why they're using it, right? Or find out, sometimes there are maybe in your industry, there might be the 3 top or 4, 5 top software for that, what you want to use it for. And you do your research, because sometimes, you can see that when you do that research, maybe you find out that, yes, my competitor is using this, but I don't need this feature, so I'll go with this other one, right? This other platform, as opposed to staying with with what one of my competitors are using, right? So, or is using, what he or she is using, or what the company is using. So very important that you really look at, what others are using in your industry, and then really sit back and say, okay, yes, is this really, do I need all these features? Because even though you have someone that is your competitor, it might be something that he's doing that your company is not actually doing 100%. Maybe you guys are in the same industry, 80%, that you're doing a little different, something a little bit different. So when you're looking at analyzing the software of that your competitor, you have to make sure that you know what really works for your company. All right. So again, make sure that you know what works for your company. It's not because your A company or B company or C company uses it, or even though that you're in the same industry, that you don't do your research. All right. And even you can even cast a wider net beyond the ABC company. You can do more and assess what other companies are using that are in your industry, right? Do some research, right? And see why you would choose one over the other. All right. Now, the next point is cost benefit analysis. As an accountant, that's what I hit on. Cost benefit analysis. Now, is this product beneficial? Is it beneficial? Right? If you say yes, but what about the cost? Can you equate the cost to the benefits? Right? If the software is very expensive and it doesn't really do what you need, right? It doesn't really save cost, because usually technology is supposed to make your product efficient, and product, or whatever you're doing is supposed to make it better. And what you're going to use it for is supposed to make it better, process is better. Now, your software is going to do that, good, but if it's going to be very costly to do that, you have to make sure you check to see, is it worth investing in such a software? One thing about SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, we know this, and it's your dream. You just said, okay, I want to start this business. You're so glad, but usually they're limited resources. And so you want to make sure that even as you're investing in this software, you are investing in it in such a way that it will not be so costly. It's not going to really be costly, to your company. Now, costly, and I want really to say costly. Costly, I'm not talking about only it's not really the dollar value, it's the cost benefit analysis. I hope you understand that. It's not really how much, it's just the cost benefit analysis, right? Right? Something might not be that expensive, but the benefit is not there. So it's cost benefit analysis that you're looking at. Something might be worth a little bit more, but it does so much more and gets you so much more revenue, right? And reduces costs, right? So that you can make more profit, right? When cost is reduced, revenue minus expense, that's when minus the cost. When that expense is reduced, you make more money. The bottom line is what? That's which profit, the bottom line I'm talking about is your profit what? Increases, right? Great profit. So again, it's a cost benefit analysis, not just the cost of that software. All right. So these are the major points. Again, remember that, do you need it? Right? Is it user friendly? All right. Is there security? All right. What about the competitors? What are your industry using? All right. And of course, the competition, you have to really research. Then, of course, the cost. Now, what I talked about is I mentioned this earlier on, is the trial basis, trial. When you're decided that this is what you want, just take advantage of the trial time, because a lot of these softwares give you some time to try and see, you really like it, right? You can even, if you're working with some staff, tell them to also try it out. All right. So it's very, very important. Okay. So please make sure you do choose a good software. Make sure it works well. Make sure you're really thriving, because with that software that if you've chosen a good software, honestly, your process should improve, right? Your process should improve, and you make more money because your cost should reduce. All right. Okay. All right. So now we're going to the next segment. Yes, we have a guest today, Ms. Delia Rodriguez. I'm going to call her Miss Delia, and she actually is here to just share with us some of her challenges. I'm so happy that she decided to come and share today. So I will just open the floor. Thank you for being here. She has a tax practice, and she said she has some challenges. So I said she should come in and share, and I really appreciate you for being here. So Ms. Delia, let me know a little bit about, go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Ini. Yes, one of the biggest challenges that I have faced or I'm facing currently is the high cost of overhead, especially right after COVID.
Okay. All right. Okay. And I think that's something that many small businesses, thank you for sharing that, because I believe that's something many small businesses are going through right now. So one of the things I would say, right, is first of all, you have to do a market survey, right? One of the things that are overhead, maybe things like maybe the cost that you have, overhead means the cost she's actually incurring it within the office space, right? So one of the things I would advise you is, number one, really look into, doing some research, do some cost analysis, and see that people out there that will actually give you something that is cheaper. So before you commit to say, okay, this is what I'm using. I mean, there are some things you cannot really change. Because if you're like some utility companies, that utility company is really attached to the building. But if not, like utilities, make sure that you're checking to see that you get a better deal. I know that some companies that say, okay, at a certain time it's free. So check with that. Another thing you could check is, general analysis, and see if you're getting a supplier that supplies things to you, right? Make sure you're also thinking, some people are so committed to that supplier and they say, oh my goodness, I've been with this person for so long, right? So you might even just say, you know what, let me see what others are doing, right? What others are doing to see if I could get it cheaper. See, sometimes, as I said, you might be committed to this supplier, but you can actually say, you know what, I'm seeing these prices out there that are cheaper. Can you match this? Because I've been with you for so many years. If you can't match this, I might have to leave you, right? So right. that will really make sure that they give you a better price. So the most important thing is for you to do market survey, and then also eliminate expenses that you don't need. Right. Elimination. You have to do an analysis and see, do you really need these expenses? Many large companies, many large entities are doing that. If you see they're cutting costs. There are some that said, you know what, we're not doing gym anymore. There are some that are saying that, okay, we're cutting down on snacks in the office. These, you might think that, oh, what's happening? Why are they doing this? But when you look at it, it's because they want to reduce overhead costs, general costs like that. So think of costs that you don't really need to incur. Look at it. You said that was after COVID. Now, you need to sit back and say, okay, do I really need this? Now, and another thing I advise people, because I know that as someone that is in the service industry, get your customers to start liking Zoom calls. Let them start liking technology. Right? Some people, when they want to see, they want to come into the office. But I see things like Zoom. They can get to know, and also get them to understand that they can actually upload things into the portal. These are the things that can, reduce costs. So again, market research, right? Elimination. Find out, do you really need those costs, right? And then, talk from the market research. You talk to your current suppliers. If you have any suppliers of anything that is related to that overhead, talk to them and see if you really want to stay with them, if they can actually reduce their pricing. And I'm sorry to say, if they can't move, if they don't want to reduce their pricing, you need to really sit back and think of it too. Think of, are you still going to use them? Now, another way you can cover your overhead is actually increasing your costs slightly. Now, you're not going to increase your costs crazy, like, terribly. But I know some of us are so committed to our customers, but honestly, if prices are increasing outside, you need to meet you need to make a profit. If there's prices increasing outside, everything is getting expensive. As long as you're not outrageously increasing your prices, that's okay. Because if you're good at what you do, right? I think I spoke about this in one of my shows. The only thing you need to do is analyze, check it out and see if your prices are actually at par. You might be really below par, right? Many people have increased their pricing, right? Maybe have you done a price analysis? Have you done a price adjustment just to make sure? Because again, as other people are increasing their prices to meet inflation, right? What have you done? Have you actually increased it to a certain extent, right? You don't have to, again, go right out there and increase it so terribly, but at least do a price analysis, increase, and then you can even let your customers know that, oh, we're going to increase it by this amount of money, so that there's also transparency is very important.
Right. That's what I tell them pretty much. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Just transparency, because they know, I mean, as I said, you have to cover your, as I said, overhead, all right, as much as possible. But also, as you're trying to increase your pricing, you have to go to the cost and look for ways to reduce that. All right.
Right.
Okay. Do you have any other question for so we can?
The other one would be really good help at the office, like employees. They are a little bit. I kind of feel like I'm always on their schedule. They're never on my schedule.
Okay.
That's hard
I like
part.
that. That's a good one. Okay. But okay, she's the boss. Okay. Well, I would say that make sure you are hiring the right employees. Before, I have a show on that, you can check it out. How to retain your employees. First of all, you have to make sure you're employing the right employees from the beginning. You have to. It's not just anybody that has to come and work with you, because a successful company also needs to have successful clients. I'm sorry, or successful staff. Yes, successful, good staff. A successful staff is a staff that works well with their customers, right?
Right.
So you need to make sure that you know who you're hiring from the beginning, right? So I don't know how much background that you do, and it's not only background checks. But it's not like, oh, yes, I'm happy the person is working with me. But is the person aligned with what your belief system is? Belief system, I'm not even talking about religion here. I'm talking about your vision. What is your vision for the company? What is your mission? It's very important for you to put those things out there to make sure that anybody that comes to work in your company understands what they're doing, right? Now, you have a staff handbook. You tell them what you actually require from them. Those are the things that are important. Sometimes we small business owners or SMEs, right? Medium-sized enterprise, we small and medium-sized enterprise, we just take it for granted. Come in and work, right? Do you tell them this is your expectation? Do you tell them this is your responsibility? And do you actually check, check against what you expect them to do, right? Because we can't expect anything as much as everything from anybody, but if you don't tell them your expectation, I mean, you can't really say that they're not doing a good job, because you have to tell them what you're expecting from them, right? What are your goals? You need them to do this and do that. But if you don't specifically let them know what your expectations are, and then you say they're not doing well, how are you looking at that? Is there any standard? What is the standard for them? So I would say that, first of all, know who you're hiring. Of course, I'm not going to go through everything I said when on the show that I talked about how to retain staff. I'm not going to go talk about it completely here, because we don't have much time. But I would say, please go and watch that show. But please know who you hire. Number one. Number two, make sure you tell them what you expect from them, even from day one. And then you also give them constructive feedback. Feedback is not only telling them they did something wrong, but telling them, appreciating them, right? And then telling them what they did wrong, right? And helping them to do better. not just telling them you did this wrong, but helping them to make sure they do better, right?
Right,
I will,
right.
I will really recommend that you go and watch that show about how to retain the right staff, because it's for you to even retain the right staff, you must understand how to actually hire the right staff. All right.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Eni.
awesome. Okay, Miss Delia, I'm really grateful for you being here today,
Thank you
and
for
you know,
yes, thank you.
thank you for sharing today, right? And so thank you so much. I
Okay,
will
have a
talk to
good
you
one.
soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. All right. So yes, I hope somebody has got something today. I think this is something, or has received some kind of help today, because she just decided to share with us after the tax season. She's been very busy, so she said, you know what, I want to come and share some of my challenges, and I hope somebody has really been able to um, get some kind of information from what I said. Again, if you have not, if you have the same issues that like Delia is having, please make sure you go into my platform and the show that talks about how to retain staff, right? Because again, staff turnover is very expensive. So you do not want the cost of staff turnover on you, right? So if you have that issue, please, I would encourage you to watch that show. All right. Okay. So now, all right, let's talk about some of the questions I have. Okay. So the very first question I have here is, I'm concerned with the issue of constant hacking in businesses. How do I protect my client information? Well, I know I spoke a little bit today about privacy and making sure that your client information is protected is very important. Is very important. You need to, first of all, make sure you have cybersecurity insurance. Make sure you have that. I hope you have that. If you don't have that, please get that. Now, you need to make sure that you have your information secure. If you do not have an IT company working with you, or an IT person, that's information technology person working with you, because of cost, I would really suggest that you outsource. It's very important that you have your client information protected. When clients or customers come to you and they swipe a card, or they give you their social security number, or anything that is related to your customer or your clients, or anything like that, is so important that you secure that information, right? And so you do not want to have issues with hacking. So make sure, first of all, you have the insurance. That's one of them. But you have to, insurance is in case something happens, but you need to protect so that something will not happen. But in case something happens, you have the security. So make sure you have an IT company really making sure that some of these things in your company are secured. Now, the good thing about, if you're using technology, right? The great thing about that is, remember, we talked about factors that you should consider when you're looking at choosing technology, right? What factors should you consider? All right, when you're choosing technology. Now, most of these tech companies, they already have privacy and all good stuff, embedded in their software. So if you're using a software, fine, that's really awesome. Make sure the software has all those, privacy and all those good stuff, right? Privacy, protection, and all those stuff that protects the customer or client. Now, I know somebody might be surprised here, but some people still use, things I'm putting in the folders and files and things like that. Well, before, it was fireproof cabinets and locks and keys. If you're in that state doing that, if you're having, fireproof cabinets and things like that, of course, I will say make sure you have that secured. But we're talking about, most times now with this question, is talking about hacking. So hacking will not really occur with you if you're storing in cabinets and things like that. But it doesn't mean that you should not use computer, right? Because people might say, oh, but if that's the case, why should I go and use an computer program because I already have my things in boxes and filed somewhere. But I would say that the ease of locating information, right? You cannot beat that when it comes to technology. You cannot. So we just have to make sure that our technology or all our solutions, technology solutions are really protected. All right. So very important that you work with a company or use if you don't need to work with a company, use softwares that are very secured. All right. Okay. There's nothing wrong with having a company, an outsourced company, or somebody to actually, have some eyes on on your, on your data too. All right. Okay. My next question is, my sister works for me, but she comes to work late. She does not follow instructions. I do not want to fire her. What do I do? Okay. Now, we know that it's so great to hire family. It's very wonderful to hire family. But if your sister is coming in late and does not follow instructions, I mean, I'm not saying that you should fire your sister, but you need to see if it's better for your sister to get a job in another company. Maybe your sister is doing all these because it's you. And so, oh yeah, that's my sister, that's my big sis, so that's my big brother. So that's fine. They'll always have my back. But if you, I mean, so maybe that's why she's doing that. But if she's doing that and you continue to tolerate that, that's actually a problem because I mean, if she's receiving a salary from you and she's not productive, you need to sit down and you have to sit her down and have a talk with her. It's very important. Um, or you have to maybe look for a job for her. She can work with a friend of yours, or or get to understand the job with somebody else and come back to work with your company. Right? Anyhow, I know how this is hard when it's family, but honestly, if your sister comes in late and she doesn't even do the work, she's not really a staff. You're just paying her as maybe if your sister, you're not, she's not really working for you. And you don't really want that to happen. So I would say sit your sister down and just have a talk with her and tell her that, you know what, you don't want to fire her, but if it comes to that, you have to let her go. But you said you don't want to fire her, so you need to talk to her. Make sure you talk to her, all right? Because that's actually cost of just spending money without receiving without somebody working. So I don't believe that's a good idea. All right. So again, I can't say you should have issues with your sister, right? I have siblings. I love my siblings a lot. So, but you have to know, when it comes to work, I mean, everyone knows for me, when it comes to work, I'm very serious minded. I'm very strict. So any of my siblings that want to work with me, they know how I am when it comes to work. So they understand how it works because in my work, we have deadlines, we have things to do. And so they understand it. They work with me. So that's not a problem. So you have to also, put your foot down and let them understand who you are when it comes to business or when it comes to work. All right. Okay, hope that answers your question. All right. I know, and I'm not saying that you should have issues just with your sister, right? But this is business. All right. Okay. The next question is that I've not filed taxes in years, but I have made limited income. Do I need to file tax returns? Okay. Now, I don't know when last you filed filed your tax return. I don't know when last this question referring to. I've not filed taxes in years, so I'm not sure when that is what years you're referring to. I mean, I just don't know what years, but I just wanted to let everyone that is listening to this is even though you might feel that you're not required to file your tax return, um, I will say that because of changes in laws, because of how tax law continues to change, right? I would say just file the return. I mean, if you are, well, let me analyze it a little bit. if you're the kind that actually can go and say, okay, let me check my filing every year. If you're that kind of, if you're very, some people are very savvy in doing that. They can go and check every year how much I earned, and because of that, do I need to file or don't I need to file? If you do that every year and you're comfortable, okay, yes, I don't need to file, right? You're fine, you're good. But if you're the kind that says, oh yeah, I'm not filing, I don't think I need to file. I didn't file a couple of years ago and they said it was fine, so I don't believe that I need to file now. Now, if you're that kind of person, you have to, I would say, to make it, to be safe, I would say you should file, because you don't know, you don't keep up with the tax law. You're not sure if what you fall under, you're not sure if you're filing, if you're supposed to file. You're not sure if you're not supposed to file. I mean, you said low income. This is limited income. What does that really mean as limited income, right? Limited income. What does that really mean? And even as individuals, generally, things change during the year. People get additional income. It could be anything, right? It could be somebody, maybe, I mean, it could be anything. I know inheritance is, not taxable to a certain extent, but I'm not going to break that down. But I'm just saying it could be anything. So it's very important for you to be sure. Now, an example is that, and let me give you an example. Assuming you are talking about you make limited income, then you have a cancellation of debt. You have a cancellation of debt, right? But you're talking about you have limited income, you don't really make so much, because that's what I'm trying to, understand with limited income. You have cancellation of debt. The government just sends you a 1090, I believe 1095 or 1099-C. I'm really, I have to really confirm that, but just say it's a cancellation of debt, right? And you receive that. And you said, oh, because it's not much, it's limited income. That's not even income. Cancellation of debt is income. It's income to you. So that's why as someone like that doesn't check and is not keeping abreast. And honestly, I really don't think if this is not your field, I don't feel that, I don't feel that you should feel bad for not keeping up with the tax law, because it's not just your field, right? So for it to be easier for you, I would say, you know what, I don't know when this last years or how many years passed, but you should actually go ahead and file. Or you find out if you do need to file, because if you don't need to file, if you check, maybe you go to a tax practitioner and check, oh yeah, I don't need to file this year. I don't need to file. I don't need to file. I don't need to file. Okay, you're fine. But if anything really changes, right? And think again, right? And apart from that, tax laws continue to change. Tax laws continue to change. Something that might have been exempt a couple of, maybe this year, it's no more exempt this particular year. A threshold might have fallen, right? So anything can happen. So you don't want to be under that umbrella where you said, oh my goodness, I did not know, because ignorance of the law is no excuse. I'm not an attorney, but I know. I read tax law, so I understand that it's not an excuse. All right. So the Internal Revenue Code, yes, it's not an excuse. All right. I'm not an attorney, but I have to make sure you understand that. Okay. So I have another question. Okay, I think I already answered this. This is about overhead. It's so excessive. How do I manage this? This is a question that I just went through with Miss Delia Rodriguez. I just went through this, but I'll just highlight it. Just make sure that you are doing a market survey. Make sure you're checking what is it that you really, really need when it comes to your business. When I say what do you need, is the cost relevant, right? And then you need to eliminate costs that you don't need. All right. Cost elimination, very important. All right. You have to do that. All right. And also, you need to increase your prices. I talked about that in one of my shows, how to increase your pricing is very important, as long as you're doing it on the market rate. All right. It's very important. All right. Okay, so let me see. I think we can take one more question. Okay, I'm having issues with my training my staff. I'm having issues with training my staff on the new software. What do I do? Okay, all right. This is somehow related to what I spoke about today. So I would say I don't want to blame you right now because it seems that you did not actually bring your staff in when you're buying this software. Remember, one of the points or the factors I said you should consider, one of the factors I said you should consider is user-friendly. If you didn't bring your staff into this new software product you're trying to use, that might actually be a problem. But I'm hoping that this is during the trial season, trial, if it's not during the trial or you're stuck with it, I would say call the company and get them to actually help you with the training of your staff. There are many demo videos that you can, tap into. There are many demo videos. So I would say that you should do your best to get the company that is using that created the software to come in and train your staff, to help you train your staff, because what you're saying, it means that you're comfortable with the software. You're comfortable with the software. So I would say that you should make sure that your staff works with, or not only you, but those that work for the company, right? The software company, to just really bring them, bring that knowledge, to them. All right. Okay, it's very important. All right. So again, if you're out there and you want to get a software, make sure, and you'll have staff, make sure it's user friendly. I can't overemphasize that. I mean, even though some people now are very techie savvy, many people that are professionals that are very good in their field, they just don't want to have to really sit back and learn things, and things that they are not conversant with. They don't want it to be very complicated. All right. So make sure you do that. All right. Okay. So, I mean, and again, thank you for watching. And I want to really sit back and really appreciate Delia. It's Delia Rodriguez for being here today. Thank you, Delia, for sharing your issues. Really appreciate that. And also, if you want to appear on this show, want to appear on this program, I had mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. Please go to my website, driniadesunya.com, and go through it, and it will tell you, the website will actually indicate on how do you actually appear on this website, on this show. And secondly, also on how you would ask your questions. How do you get your questions on this platform? All right. The goal, of course, is to make sure that SMEs thrive. And I must tell you, and I've said this and I'm going to continue to say it, you have to be intentional. In 2023 and beyond, for your business to thrive, you have to be intentional. Intentional means that it's not only listening, just listening to this program. It's not only, taking the nuggets, here in this program, but it's also really making a difference in your business by applying to a certain extent. Again, this is educational purposes, but of course, it doesn't prevent you from taking the information to your tax practitioner, to your CPA, to your accountant, and say, okay, this is what I've heard. How do I apply it to my business? All right. And your CPA will say, okay, yes, it's doable, or it's not doable because of the particular business you have, right? So it's very important, right? So to know. And usually when I say it's not doable, is saying that the exact way I said it, it's usually there's a way that with that information, that they can actually look for a way to implement it for your business. But again, this is for educational purposes only. It's not for for not to take the place of your professional accountant, CPA, or any attorney, or anybody that is advising you. All right. All right. So wonderful being here this evening. I really appreciate everyone that has come out to watch. And again, I will see you next time. Have a good one.